Welcome back. We're going to be talking about Hedera, and is Hedera's HBAR a good investment? In today's video, we're going to be exploring the entire Hedera ecosystem. We're going to be talking about the state of Hedera in 2025, and we're also going to be talking about the AI capabilities and future development of the Hedera blockchain in the AI realm. We got a lot to discuss and a lot of topics to cover. And one of the things that I've really learned about Hedera is to expand my viewpoint of the network. A lot of times people will look at the top cryptos and they'll look at their portfolio and they won't really venture out and really look at some of these other blockchains to understand what they do, what they're trying to achieve, and what they have already accomplished. And once I started to look into HBAR, specifically after they made the announcement that they're going to be utilizing Internet Computer Protocol for their AI capabilities. And basically, ICP is going to be powering Hedera's AI. I was like, wow, I need to learn more. And so in today's video, we're going to be doing just that and answering the question, is Hedera a good investment? Let's get right into today's topic, and make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. That way you never miss a new video. I upload almost every single day. We do deep dives like this into many different crypto and blockchain projects, and we talk about the news and ways to invest. Nothing I say is financial advice. Give the video a free thumbs up. Let's get right into today's topics. So starting out, first we need to understand what Hedera is. Now, a new era for Hedera, announcing new ecosystem identities, leadership, and across collaboration. This is something new where they kind of go into what Hedera is up to, what they're changing, what they're doing. This was released in the beginning of May of 2025. It says today marks the start of a new era for the Hedera ecosystem. We're unveiling two new brand identities. The HBAR Foundation is now Hedera Foundation, and the Hedera Governing Council is now the Hedera Council. These two entities will remain independent and continue to serve distinct roles, and they're now aligned under the same Hedera brand, providing greater clarity to those looking to join or grow the Hedera ecosystem. And so they talk a little bit more about the history of Hedera and what is going on in Hedera. But effectively, Hedera is trying to achieve blockchain dominance in the DeFi and world of AI. And I believe that they also work on tokenization as well. We'll get into some of the use cases in just a few minutes. But first, let's look at some of the metrics of the network. 8.5 million accounts have been created, 71 billion total transactions, 556,000 transactions in the last 24 hours from when I'm recording this video, and under 3 seconds to consensus finality. And so it's an open source public network that's governed by leading organizations around the world. This is what the Hedera Council is. And you can see some of those Hedera Council members, including Dell Technologies, Avery Dennison, Chainlink Labs, Google, IBM, Hitachi, LG, and more. And so this kind of shows you the brands that are backing this blockchain capability and technology by being part of the Hedera Council. You can also see here the developer community uses Hedera improvement proposals to effectively, fund operations and fund development of the ecosystem through their engineers. The gold standard in blockchain, they talk about hash graph consensus, decentralization, and EVM equivalent, secure, fast, and we talked a little bit about the finality. But really, I want to dig a little bit deeper and understand a little bit more about what the Hedera ecosystem is all about. So getting started with Hedera, this is part of their what is Hedera, right? It kind of shows you all of the documents and all of the things that you can do, all the things that you can build within Hedera. You can also learn the basics. Start your journey by learning the basics, from understanding the network's architecture to who's building next generation applications. You'll have a proper foundation to start building, and then they have actual resources for you if you want to learn about what Hedera is, how to develop within the ecosystem, and so on. And then they have testnet access, environmental setup, and developer paths. And again, this has been much more developed over the last year or so. I think a lot of these blockchain ecosystems are really kind of getting ready for the big money and the big businesses to kind of also get their employees to start developing on these blockchains, because everything is moving into digital finance, digital world, digital access, and also these immutable ledgers like blockchain. They talk about network services, obviously smart contracts, a token service to create tokens, and then a consensus service to gather consensus on the network. And then they talk about dApps and all of that. But more importantly, we can see the roadmap. And by the way, I think I was trying to pull up on this page the ecosystem map. Maybe I clicked the wrong thing. Yeah, here we go, the ecosystem. So what you can see here is many different applications built within the Hedera ecosystem. You have Web3 applications, enterprise applications, wallet and custody, network explorers, tooling and integrations, grants and accelerator programs, partner programs, the Hedera Council, which we just covered, and in many more, right? So this ecosystem is very vast, and there's a lot of participation from many different entities. But what does this actually mean for the future? Well, Hedera actually has a roadmap, and let's go over that now to see and understand a little bit more about what Hedera is trying to achieve moving forward. So looking at the roadmap, you can see that they have prioritized for development projects that are prioritized but not planned yet for development, which is includes modularized local node testing. They have planned for development metadata management via smart contracts, batch transactions. This obviously makes the blockchain more efficient. Network tooling and automation, and then obviously they have completed projects that are completed and deployed. Now, obviously, this is probably not the full exact list. Maybe it is. Oh yeah, it keeps scrolling down. So obviously, there's a lot that has been done. We're not going to go through all of that today because it doesn't really matter. Really, what I want to know is where the state of Hedera is. What does the blockchain look like? What do the metrics on the blockchain look like? And where is this ecosystem going? Because that's going to bring us to the question of this video. Is Hedera's HBAR a good investment? So starting with Messari's Q1 of 2025 State of Hedera. This kind of gives us an, insight into what the blockchain is doing. HBAR circulating market cap decreased by 33% quarter over quarter to $6.9 billion, but its market cap ranks amongst all tokens remain unchanged at 18. Now, when we look at coin market cap, it is the number 17 or 18 crypto. It's about 19 cents. If we pull up the all chart, you can see the all-time record high was in 2021 at about 45 cents. So just basically about double where we are today. We hit that 40 and 45 cent level in 2021 multiple times. So that was like a 1-2 triple top, maybe double top. And we're basically kind of very close to the all-time record highs that we were at last time. But remember, the market cap is already almost $8.5 billion. So it's very high market cap already. And we also have to understand the maximum supply and total supply, right? 50 billion HBAR. But right now in circulation, there's only 42 billion. Which means over the course of time, I don't know the full emission schedule, but HBAR will inflate by another like 7.5 billion coins, which will dilute some of the market cap. But generally speaking, most of the coins are in circulation, which is a good sign. It says about 85% of the coins are in circulation. If this was much lower, you'd really be more concerned with the inflation and emission of new coins into the circulating supply. Because remember, the market cap is determined by the circulating supply, not the maximum supply. Anyway, moving right along, decentralized exchange volumes on Hedera averaged $10.8 million per day in Q1, increasing 0.5% quarter over quarter, maintaining all-time high recorded in the previous quarter, which is good to know, right? We know, obviously, all-time record highs, staying consistent is very important for the efficiency and sustainability of these networks. Hedera's stablecoin market capitalization increased 91%, closing Q1 at $72 million. Stablecoins continue to make their way into DeFi on Hedera with over $5.5 million worth of USDC on Bonzo Finance alone. And one of the things that we've been talking about is USDC integration on these chains. The chains that don't have USDC integrated, especially when USDC is the digital dollar and we're getting stablecoin regulations on the books, to make this kind of legal tender and allow the banks and institutions and finance companies to utilize digital dollars the same way that we use physical dollars. And so the blockchains that don't have native integration of USDC or Tether are going to be in quite the pickle when TradFi continues to transition over to decentralized finance and DeFi. And so Hedera does have a direct connection with USDC on their chain. The daily average transactions in Q1 increased 26% to 708,000 per day. 708,000 transactions per day. This growth can be attributed to Hedera's crypto service transactions, which also increased 103%. But remember what we were talking about, the circulating supply, right? HBAR's circulating supply grew 10.4% quarter over quarter. That's a very large increase in one quarter. In 3 months, they increased the circulating supply by 10.4%. And they close at 42.2 billion. By the end of next quarter, which we are in, right? So 46.2 billion HBAR is expected to be circulating. So that means we're going to see another 7% increase approximately from 42 billion all the way up to 46 billion. That's a lot of inflation. And so from an investment perspective, if they're inflating the circulating supply, which a lot of these ecosystems do during bull markets because there's liquidity to kind of offset that inflation, at least that's what it appears to be. But I view inflation as bad, or emission of new coins as really bad, because it dilutes the other shareholders. But in a bear market, it may not matter, but it will correct in the bear market. And so I don't know. We're going to come back to this in a little bit when we do talk high level about everything and kind of determine whether HBAR is or is not a good investment. But before we go there, it's really just important to know circulating supply is increasing. And so what exactly is HBAR? It's a high-performance, secure, sustainable, public permissioned distributed ledger technology. Hedera is governed by a council of up to 39 of the world's leading institutions with community input on the network's features and ecosystem standards via improvement proposals. While anyone can submit a transaction and view the network, history, and data, only pre-approved entities run the nodes that validate transactions and participate in consensus. So it's not a fully open network like Bitcoin or Ethereum where anyone can become a node operator. You have to be approved by, from my understanding, the council. While members of the council currently operate Hedera's validator nodes, the network plans to eventually become permissionless for consensus. And although Hedera's network operation is currently permissioned in nature, meaning centralized, controlled, the division of responsibility across 30 geographical and industry diverse collusion-proof council members is unique among public networks. And that is true. There's no other blockchain ecosystem that has like 40 companies that are running the network, right? They're the ones who are basically in control of everything, and a permission network. Generally speaking, I would say it's probably going to be very hard to transition from a permission network to a permissionless network, especially because of the structure of all of this, and the council would have to agree, and would they actually agree on it? Probably not. And so we have to keep that in mind. It's not permissionless now. Is it going to be permissionless in the future? And will it even matter? I mean, if the network operates and works, it may not even matter. I mean, look at Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. These networks, they're permissioned, right? And they work, and everybody uses them globally, even up in, when you're on a plane. And so we have to take all of this into context, right? This is part of researching these investments, these blockchains, these cryptos, and identifying like, here are all the things that I really like about it. Here's the things that I don't like about it. Here's the things that I'm kind of neutral on. Is it investable? And so keeping that in mind, let's move on. And so looking at the key metrics of the network, you can pause the video right here if you want to see this. We're not going to go over all of these metrics. This is the Hedera network price overview. We went over that already. You can see the market cap and revenue. The market cap is important because the market cap is determined by the circulating supply. Remember, so if they're inflating the circulating supply and the price stays the same, then the market cap goes higher. But if the price goes down because they're increasing the circulating supply, the market cap would probably be around the same. But you can see here that the fully diluted market cap is the green line, and then the blue line is circulating supply. So you can see that they're kind of, they're basically in line with each other. They're correlated, and there's no major disconnects there. So that's a good thing. USD revenue fell by 5% quarter over quarter, closing Q1 at $232,000. What I would ask about this is the blue, this is the revenue. What we can see here is from January to September of last year, 2024, we saw massive growth in the revenue, hitting like $20,000 per day. Now we're much, much lower, where revenue in US dollar terms is hitting about 4,000 or less per day. That's a big drop. That's a 5x. They were doing 5x more last year than they're doing this year. But I thought this is the bull market. And so this is something we have to keep an eye on, because network activity went up as the price, maybe people were just anticipating what was going on with blockchain and crypto in 2024. I mean, there was major price moves in the beginning of the year, but we didn't even see it recover after the Trump pump, right? Remember, the Trump pump was at the end of the year during the election, where the markets just went crazy, but we didn't even see recovery from that. So why did this drop? I don't know. It could be transaction fees. It says transaction fees on the network decreased 55%. However, dollar-denominated fees decreased by only 5%. The decrease in the network revenue can be attributed to HBAR's transfer volume, which declined 33.5%. Okay, but why did the transfer volume decrease? I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, you could see that right here. HEDERA'S service revenue decreased 55% quarter over quarter. I mean, it just went boom, straight down. Revenue in HBAR went from 450,000 or 250,000 over here down to under 50,000. That's not a really good a drop. It says revenue contracted for all Hedera networks services in Q1. Hedera's consensus revenue decreased 87%, while Hedera token service decreased 41%. Hedera's crypto service revenue decreased by 60%, and the smart contract service decreased by 58%. Why? Why? I don't know. I mean, some of this could be because their token service is decreasing, because remember, there was a lot of meme coin craze in 2024, but the meme coins lasted until January of 2025, and we can see that all of Hedera's metrics just cratered in around September of 2024, and I don't know why. Anyway, that may not be a critical issue, but it's just something to take into account. Remember, good things about the network, not good things about the network, neutral things about the network, and then at the end of the video, we decide, is this a good investment? And so the Hedera network overview, what we're going to look at is from Q1 of 2024 all the way to Q4 of 2024 and Q1 of 2025. We'll see either growth or contraction. Daily active addresses, Q1 of 2024 was 16 and almost 17,000. Q1 of 2025 was 7,000. So it dropped by almost 50%. Why? Why are we seeing these huge drops in the daily active addresses? New addresses are basically the same, 8.4 thousand in Q1 of last year to 8.2 thousand in Q1 of this year. Daily transactions went from 90 million transactions last year to 708,000 transactions. That's a big drop, almost 100 million to less than a million. Think about that. And so that's important for us to understand. HBAR staked for rewards last year was 7.5 billion. Now it's less than 6 billion. And so why is that, right? Could this be people are just unlocking their coins and selling it because the price has gone up? That's potential. But I don't know the answer to this question. Percentage of total supply staked last year was 44%, and now it's 31%. Now you could say some of this is because they've emitted more coins. They've inflated the circulating supply, which could be part of the reason. But again, if we go back to the HBAR, the number of HBAR staked, both no rewards and rewards, it has significantly dropped since last year. Last year was about 22 billion, and now we're at about 16 billion. That's a big drop in just 1 year. And why? I don't know. Especially when you see that use cases and usage of the network appears to be kind of getting ready to increase. This is average active accounts, a decrease by 33% quarter over quarter to 6,700 active accounts per day in Q1. You can see the green line is new accounts and the blue line is active accounts. While blue line is significantly lower than where we are last year, new accounts seems to be rising, and it seems to be rising consistently over the last few months. And so this could be an indicator that, or at least I should say for the first 3 months of the year, this could be an indicator that maybe something is happening under the hood at Hedera that we just don't know about, or that we do know about. And this brings us to AI. Now, I've been reporting pretty endlessly on this channel. That's one of the reasons I highly suggest you click the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Is just a few weeks ago, we covered a video, and I think it's called Breaking News, or it's just called ICP is going to power Hedera's HBAR, something like that. And in that video, we covered the announcement from one of the governing council or advisory council members of Hedera that Hedera is going to be joining forces with Dfinity, which is the founding entity and development arm behind Internet Computer Protocol. And they're going to be powering on-chain AI utilizing the Internet Computer. And so to be clear here, right, a newly formed technical group is exploring ways to supercharge the Hedera network. They aim to combine Hedera's speed and security with Dfinity's, or I should say Internet Computer's, cutting-edge Internet Computer technology. The goal is to take on three major challenges that are key to the future of blockchain, Web3, and AI on-chain, and tackle them head-on. First up, the group is diving into how Hedera apps could run AI logic right on chain. This would be a major leap forward, as AI is typically handled off chain due to performance limitations. If successful, this could open the door to smarter, faster, and even more secure dApps without needing to rely on external services. It's like teaching your car to drive itself, but on blockchain, smarter, more efficient, and fully automated. And the other thing to keep in mind here is that, again, Hedera is going to be utilizing the AI capabilities of Internet Computer to achieve this. So they're going to be effectively tapping in and using ICP as their AI compute back end, I guess you could call it. And they posted a tweet that kind of explains that, but I think I've explained it fairly well in previous videos. So I definitely recommend going and watching those on the channel, or just hitting subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. And I'm sure YouTube will recommend those videos right over to you. Anyway, they're also talking about ditching cloud front ends. Effectively, what Hedera wants to do is replace centralized cloud-based front ends with Internet Computer's native technology. Most dApps today still rely on traditional web services like Amazon Web Service or Google Cloud for their user's interface, right? What you're using, the actual front-end app that you see on your phone or your computer or whatever. That is the weak spot. With Internet Computer Protocol, these front ends could live entirely on chain, creating truly decentralized user experiences. In other words, it's time to cut out the middleman and build from the ground up. And that middleman is Amazon Web Service, Google Cloud, all of these different platforms that let you tie in, but they're not decentralized and maybe not even fully secure and open source. And then it also is going to be focusing on chain fusion interoperability. The working group is looking at chain fusion, bringing seamless interoperability between Hedera and other blockchains via the Internet Computer. This would allow assets and data to move across networks like butter on a hot skillet. It's all about making different chains talk to each other, which is critical if Web3 is going to live up to the hype. And I would completely agree. One of the things that we've been talking about, and I've been posting videos as well about this issue, is if you look at the actual crypto ecosystem, there's many coins in the top 50 that have zero interoperability, that have zero connections to stable coins outside of their own ecosystem, or they use their own network wall, like I don't know what the word is, like a gated garden, I guess you could call it, where anybody in that ecosystem, they can use their stable coins and their interoperability features, but these are not real interoperability features. They're not real bridges to other ecosystems. They're centralized points of failure in a siloed blockchain that doesn't have this interconnectivity. Hedera does have this interconnectivity, and Internet Computer does have it as well, but they're working on it in a bridgeless fashion, right? They're building bridges to other chains utilizing chain fusion technology, which allows the ICP network to actually read and write to other blockchains. This is something that no other chain can really do at this point, and Hedera is looking to tap into this capability and this technology to bring interoperability to a bigger or larger stage within Hedera. And so this is very exciting for me because I'm following both Hedera and more really focusing on internet computer in our research. But, one of the things with interoperability is taking what another chain does well and bringing it over to your chain. So you're not reinventing the wheel, right? So all these chains that say, well, we can do things better than Ethereum. It's like, well, you don't have all the usage and all of the connectivity and all of the value flowing through Ethereum. So you cannot do it as well as Ethereum. Now you can get close and maybe bring them for a ride from a competition standpoint, similar to what Solana is doing. But Solana is still not at the level that Ethereum is, although it has many of the same features and capabilities that Ethereum has and can do things faster, more efficient, and cheaper than Ethereum in many ways. But that still doesn't mean Solana is better than Ethereum, for many different reasons. But what Solana isn't trying to do is they're not trying to tap into Ethereum for their strengths to fix the weaknesses of Solana. And this is what Hedera is doing. Not saying that it's weak, but Internet Computer already has the compute capabilities and the decentralized compute network that they call the world computer, which is the Internet Computer. But what Internet Computer is trying to achieve is very different than what Hedera is trying to achieve. Hedera is not trying to be a compute platform. And so for them to pivot and start becoming a compute platform, that way they can process AI on their own chain. This could take years, billions of dollars, and they may not even ever achieve it. I mean, look at the blockchain ecosystem. Look at all these cryptos that promised us this and that and this and that, and they still, they don't even have interoperability, let alone a stable coin, right? Or I should say, let alone AI, because if they don't even have interoperability, they're never going to have a stable coin ever, ever, ever. Sorry, AI. I'm going back and forth. Sorry. If they don't have interoperability or DeFi now, they're never going to have AI, because if they can't even get DeFi down or interoperability down or a bridge down, what makes you think that they're going to be able to do AI? And so instead of reinvent the wheel and try to reinvent what ICP is doing, Hedera, in a very smart way, in my view, is saying, well, let's look at these other ecosystems and see who has the technology that we need. Well, Hedera did do that. They said, who has the technology that we need? And they looked at Internet Computer. And Internet Computer has the AI and the compute capabilities that Hedera can use, along with Chain Fusion, to help make Hedera even more interoperable. And Hedera doesn't really even need to do anything. All Hedera needs to do is connect to the Internet Computer, which they are working on doing right now. We just covered that. Once they're connected, all that other stuff that ICP does well, and all that other stuff that Internet Computer has from an AI perspective and a compute perspective, all of that is gifted. It's effectively gifted to Hedera, the same way that all of these smaller crypto ecosystems that are tapped into Ethereum, the reason they succeed is because they're tapped into Ethereum. They didn't have to reinvent the wheel. They didn't have to go to all of the big money providers and say, hey, we need liquidity. Can you give us billions and billions of dollars of liquidity? Ethereum has that. And so all you got to do is tap into Ethereum and you have that liquidity. You have the developer ecosystem. You have the incentives to build outside of Ethereum, right? Smart contracts on layer twos, et cetera. These other ecosystems, there's a lot that they are completely siloed, right? Think XRP, completely siloed. No interoperability to other chains, no DeFi to other chains, no stable coins from other chains, completely siloed. And XRP is not the only one. I'm only using it because it's the number 4 crypto. Completely siloed. And so XRP cannot achieve anything greater than just being a payment rail unless they tap into other blockchains or buy, like straight out buy out other companies, which is what we heard they're trying to do with Circle and USDC, buying Circle, buying USDC. Because in my view, XRP or Ripple, I should say, they view Circle as, liquidity. They view it as regulated entity. They look at it as almost a bank, right? XRP would almost become a bank or a financial, well, like it would definitely be a much larger financial company than they are today. But the key here is if they buy Circle, now they have access and liquidity to and from all the other blockchains that are connected to USDC, which is effectively the entire DeFi ecosystem. And so by Ripple buying Circle, if they were to do this, right, then it would immediately give XRP and Ripple a leg up in terms of the technological implementation, technological control, technological, influence over where these ecosystems go. And this would be extremely good for Ripple, maybe XRP as well. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know, right? But what we're seeing here is Hedera is saying, no, we're not going to try to reinvent the wheel. AI and the compute capabilities for AI are too advanced. It's going to take up too much time, too much money, too much resources. And instead of do that, let's just tap into Internet Computer, utilize all of their strengths, and build Hedera. And so what does this do? This builds Hedera, this builds Internet Computer, it builds all the ecosystems that are interconnected with Hedera and Internet Computer. And by the way, if Hedera is connecting to ICP, typically these like interoperability features or bridges or whatever you want to call them, they're two-way. It's not a one-way street. And so therefore, if Hedera is tapping into Internet Computer, that means that Internet Computer can tap into Hedera. So what is one of the things that I've been talking about on my channel with Internet Computer for quite a while? Internet Computer doesn't really have true interoperability from a bridge standpoint. It doesn't really have true native stable coins, right? It has Chain Fusion USDC, but it doesn't have native USDC. But what does Hedera have? Hedera has both of those things. Hedera has bridges to other chains, bridges to the entire Ethereum ecosystem, and also stablecoin, right? Natively issued, USDC natively issued on Hedera. And so this partnership, which I've never really, I never really dug deep in a conversation like this on the channel before about it, besides this is really good for Internet Computer, their AI capabilities are great, which they are. But now, if you really think about it, Hedera partnering and choosing Internet Computer for their AI capabilities, this is actually 3 times or 4 times better for Internet Computer than it is for Hedera. Because now Internet Computer can continue to focus on the AI, the compute, the cloud type of business, the world computer, right? From a blockchain perspective. That's what they're trying to achieve. And now they don't even have to necessarily, although it could still be good, but they don't necessarily have to really focus on USDC. They don't necessarily have to focus on those other bridges because they can just focus on Chain Fusion. And if they need to use another bridge or a developer needs to come into the Internet Computer ecosystem, they can do that by bridging over to Hedera and then bringing whatever value or money or information from Hedera straight to Internet Computer and vice versa, from Internet Computer to Hedera. Guys, this is big. And are we going to see the effects of this cycle? I mean, in my view, I'm recording this in the middle of 2025, so we're towards the end of this bull market. But this is laying the groundwork for the next cycle. This is laying the groundwork for potentially high-performing cryptos in the bear market because the AI narrative is not going away at all. And so if we know the AI narrative is not going away, and we know that these markets are cyclical, bull market, bear market, bull market, bear market, and we're at the end of the bull market, well, we need to start identifying what are good investments to start piling into in the bear market. That way, in the next bull market, hopefully these investments pan out, right? And so one of the things that I would say about the title of the video is Hedera's HBAR a good investment? I don't necessarily know whether it's a good investment now, right? In the cycle that we're in the time frame, in the cycle that we're in. But I would say over the longer term, I am becoming more and more bullish on Hedera. You guys know how I feel about Internet Computer. These are very small portions of my portfolio. I don't own HBAR at this current moment. Maybe by the time you're watching this, it'll be different. Maybe in the past it was different. But Internet Computer as well, right? I've traded Internet Computer. It's kind of like a trade for me, but I've become more bullish on Internet Computer. And now that I'm learning more and more about Hedera, I am becoming more bullish. Obviously, there's some concerns that I have, mostly around the inflation rate. But if we go into a bear market and I'm not investing now and I wait until the bear market and they just keep inflating and inflating, getting to that total supply, that's bullish. Once we get to the maximum supply, we're over that hurdle. This is really important to understand because there's a lot of ecosystems that are going to be in the next cycle in 2028 and they're still not going to be at their maximum supply. So they're still going to be inflating. And, what do we know about the dollar? They have been inflating and inflating and inflating and inflating and inflating and inflating literally since the dollar was created. And then they revalue the gold and take the dollar off the gold standard. That's inflating as well. And so if you keep inflating, you keep devaluing the underlying asset. And it's very hard to turn that around completely. I mean, we've seen that over the last few years, just going from 9% inflation to 3% inflation. And the Federal Reserve said it's not enough, right? And meanwhile, that took us multiple years to just reduce that much. And so in these ecosystems, the constant emission of billions and billions of coins, this affects the market cap. And if the market cap stays the same, but they keep emitting more coins, yet the price goes down. And so yes, I would say generally speaking, I am very bullish on Hedera and Internet Computer. And I'm becoming more bullish on Hedera because I'm learning more about it as we've gone over in this video. I mean, there's so much data on Hedera and HBAR to look into and understand where this network is, where they're going, what they're working on. I even have other videos here about AI and decentralized AI. With Hedera. This is Hedera Foundation. It says Hedera is going to shine in decentralized finance AI in the AI industry. Maybe they meant to say DeFi. Anyway, whatever. As the Hedera Foundation adopts new AI development tools to encourage AI dApps on HBAR. From this guy, he said, what we want is AI that align with the value sets that people have. Let's listen to what he says. I think this is one of the people from the Hedera Foundation, but I'm not sure. If you guys know, let me know down below.
Is an area that I think Hedera is really going to shine and already is, I would argue, miles ahead, barring perhaps the ASI token.
What?
But even still.
Hold on. He just said that ASI is the only thing that Hedera is not more advanced for. Well, first of all, that is a flawed argument because ASI has not created anything since they've merged. Internet Computer, the technology of ICP from an AI perspective is by far the best in blockchain. No other blockchain, no other company that's working on AI and blockchain is even close from what I've seen. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but ASI, no. They're talking a lot, but they don't have real AI on chain right now. So I don't necessarily agree with that point, but let's continue listening.
Hedera probably is doing certain things, certainly in regards to large language models and provenance. Let's continue because this is interesting. And again, we love just highlighting how useful Hedera is and how impactful it already is and is going to be. Let's dive into the next clips.
There are. Lehman?
Community is critical here. People talk about needing values alignment.
Okay, so I think that guy is just a YouTuber. This is the guy from Hedera Foundation.
We want our AI to align with good values. Great. But what are good values? Don't we all have different values? What we don't want is the one Uber AI that aligns with the true values. What we want is to have AIs that align with all the different value sets that people have. We need a variety of AIs. This is why open source is so nice. But we need lots of them so that you can get what aligns with what you need to do, rather than having one person at Facebook decide what is the true values of humanity. This is what we need to be going to. So it means we need community, we need governance. AI governance is incredibly important. And then I talked about you need to get permissioning from people, and it should be sort of like medical trials where people give their permission and they can take it back. You know what? If you're getting permission from lots of people who just say, you can use my tweets, or you can't use my tweets, so not the owner of a gigantic data set, but just individual people with individual things, we might want to have royalties flowing back to them. And you ask, why blockchain? Well, again, blockchains, DLTs, these ledgers, can keep track of that sort of thing and make micropayments. And so we could even see a future where you have communities where each individual is allowing their data to be used for training, and then royalties flow back to them automatically.
Is an area.
Now, the likelihood that we see that actually happen in the near term, very unlikely. They're just going to keep using the data without giving us anything. But as you guys can see, they're definitely thinking about many different levels of AI. And one of the things that I find fascinating is that Hedera is working with other chains as well. Whether it's internet computer or any other chain, it doesn't matter. They are looking and saying, okay, like probably if Hedera and ICP get together, you can get two of the potentially best projects in crypto AI together and get those, the talent that is working on these blockchains together. They can do better than if they're just siloed in their own ecosystems. And so what Hedera is laying down here is the foundation. Remember the Hedera Governing Council, because the Governing Council is all these large corporations, and they understand like that there's not just one solution. There's not just one answer, and that you need, like what he was just saying, like you need the value sets of different people and different communities built into the AI, so that it's not just like you said, like a person at Facebook saying, well, this is not true, so we're not going to include it. It's like, well, you think it's not true, and then another person says that it is true. So like, what is the balance there? And so these companies getting involved, they don't care how Hedera is going to win. They just want Hedera to win, right? And they want this capabilities and they want this technology so that they can win. And so they don't care if it's Hedera and Internet Computer or Hedera and Ethereum or just Hedera by itself. But as you can see, just from the Hedera Council, these are multiple different companies from different areas of the world, different type of businesses, and they're bringing them together to create potentially one of the best platforms in blockchain, right? Or for these capabilities of AI. And so in my view, the fact that Hedera is doing this, it makes it even more bullish for the future if they're able to get everything done that they want. Part of the issue here is that because you have all of these companies and you have all of these differing viewpoints on the future of blockchain or the future of AI and blockchain or the future of crypto, sometimes that could just be bureaucracy and red tape, and you may not be able to get anything done. That's also something that we have to think about as well, because as much as the governing council could be a good thing, it could also be a bad thing and hinder, maybe not now, maybe in the future, maybe down the road, it could hinder the future of this ecosystem. But I don't think that we're there now. I think that right now they're looking for to make Hedera one of the best ecosystems out there, not just for AI, but for many different use cases and applications. I'm really focused on AI because I think that AI is really the next huge narrative after crypto. Like crypto, life-changing potential if you were early investor. Now I think it's really AI because AI is going to continue to grow and it's going to continue to be used, and it's not even monetized right now. This is what OpenAI is trying to IPO so that they can start monetizing this stuff. It's going to be really interesting to see how that all plays out. But Hedera, Internet Computer, these are definitely going to be players in this AI and blockchain space. And so going back to the title of the video, is HBAR a good investment? Here's the deal. I think I laid this out really well through the video. I do think that Hedera is investable for my portfolio. These are my opinions, my analysis. Make sure you guys do your own research. And also do me a favor, give the video a free thumbs up, especially if you're up to this part in the video. Let me know down below, Cryptoviser, I'm up to that part in the video. And I'll try to like or comment back on your post. But here's the deal, guys. It is investable in my view. Am I investing in it right now? No. No. Because we are in a bull market. But I am looking for opportunities as we move forward and as we potentially move into a bear market or a corrective phase of the cycle. I will seriously consider Hedera as an investment, especially if we go into a bear market and we go to these bear market lows. I mean, if we go to 3 cents, we're going, under $1 billion. That would, if they're continuing to develop and grow and we see the on-chain activity starting to pick up again, there is no doubt in my mind that that's something that I would want to invest in. But we do have to kind of understand that some of the metrics on the network, have decreased. We saw that in on the Masari report. And so we have to monitor that and see why that happened. And is it going to be sustained? And if it is, what's going to happen now that they're getting into the AI realm? Are we going to see those metrics starting to increase again? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to hit subscribe. That way you never miss a new video. Give the video a thumbs up. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is Hedera a good investment? Now? In 5 months? In a year? When do you think it's a good investment? What are you going to be looking for? Or are you investing right now? Let me know down below, and I'll see you when I see you crypto on.